A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. Now, we're going to get into some stuff, so I might label the show PG-13 at least, maybe even R, depending on how things go. There will be adult themes here. So, welcome to the show, Raymond Comeau. Kind of like K-A-M-O, but it's spelled C-O-M-E-A-U. And as I was explaining it to you, I'm not Leonard, even though it looks French. I'm Leonard without an O. Tell us about the confusion with your name at times and the French part.
Growing up, I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and everybody was like, "Oh, Perry!" All the teachers, "Oh, Perry, will you stand up for me?" It was Perry Como in the '60s was a very popular singer.
Yeah,
okay? So
I remember.
So, but it didn't matter the spelling, because the spelling would say, they call me AU. You know, if you don't know French, EAU is O. The language got to kill the name. So you got to go with Ben. You can't. Some people would fight for that. You got to go with the flow. Ben, bob and weave. So that's life.
Life. Right. Yeah, I don't get upset when people call me Leonard. It looks French. But it was actually Leonard Owaskovich or something. I haven't dug back far enough in the heritage woodpile to see what it was in original Polish. But it's Leonard without an O now. But, to get upset about the only reason I care and make the distinction, as I was saying before we hit record, is there is a Joseph Leonard who is also a Christian author out of South Carolina. So, of course, and I've even so I write under my full name with middle initial, Joseph M. Leonard. Leonard without an O. And I wonder if he gets any email about my books, because I've gotten emails about his books asking me, you said this and this in this book. What did you really mean by that? And I said, wrong guy.
That's hey, you know how many Ray Comos there are? There's a Dr. Ray Como. I said, okay, I can't think. So I went out the whole Raymond G. Como. That's all everywhere where I go. I have Ray Como. What do you call me? Ray. So.
For the benefit of those viewing on the behind the scenes, I'm holding up kind of a press release and it says Raymond Comeau is an award-winning, if I could talk, multi-best-selling co-author. Ray is a motivational speaker and transform national coach. Ray retired in 2016 after owning a home and office cleaning business for 34 years. Ray is also the National Education Coordinator of Outreach Reentry Ministry and the National Redemption Project, and interviewed on TV by Jack Canfield. I frankly don't know who that is. On Hollywood Live, author of Chicken Soup of the Soul series. Now, before I get into why that confuses me, let's give a little more of your background. Where were you born, raised? Where are you still there now? Where are you now? That sort of thing.
Born in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Okay, Queen City of Shoes back in the 40s. My father moved to New Jersey to paint, to be a painter, a physical painter for Engelhard Industries. And I went along with him. That was at 3 years old. Raised in Elizabeth is a great town, multicultural. Okay, the problems in the '60s had over in Newark, New Jersey. They had the National Guard. We never knew the guys. We never knew why. Why did people get so angry? And we're only a few miles away, 5 miles away. Why did they get so angry? They had less than we had, I guess. There's always that point where if you have less than somebody else, there's going to be problems. There's going to be problems, but we never had that problem. Elizabeth was a great town.
Yeah, and also there's always outside agitators and instigators stirring things up.
Yeah, oh yeah, but there was, there was a Portuguese resident down in the Ironbound section. He had a 5,000-man army. Okay, he had a car made into a tank. He said, "Come on down. If you want trouble, come on down." So there was an area where you had separation. Okay, Portuguese and African Americans. So that can create problems. There was Italian section. There's just like Elizabeth. There's different sections then. Now it's all mixed. Now it's, everybody's living everywhere else. And I think, is it for the better? I think so. Because you're not walking around with a chip on your shoulder all the time.
Yeah.
I'm from here, So
I was born and raised in Wyandotte, a southern downriver of Detroit suburb. Wyandotte, it's not a big place, but it's not overly small. And there's the little Polish area, the little Italy area, the little German area, which is, I'm of mix of all three of those, and all kinds of the little Arabia area, but as you say, over time, it mixes a little more than it be as segregated. Now, when we say segregation, there is a difference between segregation by force and segregation by choice. Human nature is that we tend to hang with people like us. That's not necessarily automatically racism and hate. Right? It's people who look like you and talk like you. Don't judge a book by its cover. I agree with Martin Luther King Jr., right? Content of character. But unfortunately, human nature is we do that a lot. And indeed, if they look like you, talk like the general thinking is their thinking indeed will be similar and theirs may not. And we have that by choice segregations at times. When it's illegal is forced segregation.
But the things that's changed so much now is you get along if you go along. Okay. So if you don't follow the people in your neighborhood, okay, if you don't follow them, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell drugs. Then you separate yourself. That wall comes up. Eventually, if they start bothering you enough, you start, okay, I got to bend to their ways. And that's how people change. A lot of the people around the world, around areas, they change because I got to go along to get along. So that's selling drugs. You got to be part of the program.
Path of least resistance. Peer pressure. I had on DPB a rapper who has a song, Peer Pressure. Exactly. I mean, human nature is complicated, and someone who's never studied psychology in any way, shape, or form often has a hard time understanding that why can't we all just get along? It's a great notion, but not everybody's built that way. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of life and humans. But at any rate, we've already got off the path. I'm confused because it says here, chicken soup of the soul.
That's Jack Canfield. That was his. Jack Canfield sold $600 million worth of those books.
That was referring to him. Now, okay.
To him.
See, was confused, thinking he talked to you about that because indeed, and I've not heard of chicken soup of. For the benefit of the transcript and audio, I'm doing the air quotes of the soul. We're all familiar with chicken soup for, in air quotes, the soul.
Yeah.
And all that was confusing me. All right, so we can throw that out because that wasn't you anyway. So
that's what made him popular. Now I'm trying to do my popular with my book.
Exactly. So the book on the sheet, before we get to other things, is What Bad We Do, Don't Ever Cross the Line. What inspired that?
Well, the day that I got my calling, that night, the same night I got the type for the calling, God gave me that What Bad We Do. Whatever, Don't Ever Cross the Line came later. What bad we do is to list the things that we do bad. It's almost like you say the 10 Commandments, except we've changed a little, and now we got 34 problems, and they're all problems. Each one: lying, swearing, bullying, assault, selling drugs, alcohol problems. They're all the things that we do bad. That's what God gave me the thing. But later on, I said, well, that's okay. That was to remind people of the things they did bad. We forget. We might do one bad thing, or we might do 5 or 6 or 8, 10 different bad things. But we need to be reminded to come back and say, God, forgive me for what I've done. If we don't remember, you're not going to go to the next life. 3 weeks after I started writing my book, I needed a website. I didn't know what a website. I didn't know what a website was. Within a few days, I came up with OurSoulsDirection.com. My book is to lead people, to know what bad we've done, ask forgiveness, so you can go to the next life. A lot of people, when they don't remember what they've done, they get to the door. Hello, God, I'm here. God, the gate's not going to open.
Yeah.
You've done the things that you're not supposed to do.
I worry. I see a friend of mine, Pastor Sean Todd of Wham Radio here in Michigan, has a show called The Intersection at noon on Sundays. I call them the Matthew 23 Christians, right? He's the vipers, snakes, blind guides, Matthew 23. And he says the fake Christians of today want the hippie hacky sack version of Jesus. And I further add, they want to sit around the campfire, sing kumbaya all day. Yeah. They want to leave out the tough love parts. Yeah. And just everything's great, everything's wonderful, everybody's going to heaven. And I'm sorry, sadly, it ain't going to work that way. Yeah. You need to read the whole Bible, hence why I created the show, in full context.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to the potentially R-rated stuff, I wrote down defender of Christian values, and that will lead to the R-rated kind of stuff. So, but let's talk about that a little.
Well, okay. The simplicity of one problem in the book, lying, all right? Everybody lies. The day you lie and it changes somebody else's soul, changes somebody else's way of living, that's when you have the problem. That's when you cross the line, all right? The line separates, all the 34 problems separate.
Hence, what bad we do, don't cross the line. Right. Great. Exactly. When the wife says, do these jeans make me look fat? The answer is no, dear. Even though inside you might want to say, no, they don't make you look fat, but clearly you're putting on a few more pounds. That's detrimental to the relationship. So yes, a little white lie, right? Yeah. The intention matters. If you're telling a lie intentionally to harm and deceive or to gain power, gain control, or to steal, or right. There is distinct. The little white lie is still wrong, but it is very forgivable over the other ones. Yes,
exactly. Joseph, there you go, right there, Joseph. You can't. It's lying kills. Okay,
it can.
Lying takes lives. Lying puts the wrong people in jail. Lying does a lot of bad things. But when you're a kid and when you tell a lie to your parents, okay, and you go up and say, "Did you do this?" And the first thing is, and you start crying. You say, "Okay, if you say no, I didn't do it." If you get away with that, wow, that's a negative euphoria in your life that can be repeated. I was looking for a word for negative euphoria. I came up with the word nephoria because there is no word for negative euphoria. So, but as you increase your lying and get away with it.
I looked that up. I like that, nephoria, in your sense, but there is a word, and it has something to do with cosmetics. So you're fighting an uphill battle of getting your version of the term versus that version of the term.
But I think some people broke that up. They said, but they looked it up and they said they saw neuphoria, NEUOPH or something. But there is but nephoria. I looked, I couldn't find anything. Even somebody that wrote the book, they looked it up and they couldn't find anything. So
interesting. I just looked before, unless if I then read, because we do that, right? Sometimes it's why I say you've got to get an editor for your book, because we can read our own thing and see what we expect to see rather than what's there. But I'm looking at Google right now. NEPHORIA is a natural ingredient derived from blah, 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 used in cosmetics, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So not to take away from what you're saying, just to make the point, you've got an uphill battle. And I'm with you. I like what you're saying here. I myself invent hashtags and terms. I invented the term Geishas, global Islamic jihadist interim army soldiers. It's easier to say Geishas than Islamic fundamentalist radicals, right? So Geishas, like Nazis. So it makes sense at times to invent a term and hope it gets into the nomenclature like you are. And hopefully this show can play a small part in indeed getting that into the nomenclature. But yes, back to your point, indeed, endorphins can be released in a negative fashion. As you're explaining, you do something, you get away with something, you get that nephoria in your term, and that in and itself can become, wow, I like that, I want more of that. Human condition, human nature, repeating things that make us feel good, even though they might be bad. And as you said, lying can put people in prison. For the life of me, well, I was going to say, I don't understand why they took To Kill a Mockingbird out of this. I know why they did, because they want to call it a racist book, and that isn't the point. The point is Atticus Finch is the hero. It's like Huck Finn. What's his face is the hero in it. But people twist and distort the story. To Kill a Mockingbird is a positive book about not lying, not bearing false witness. Indeed, sometimes people have bad motivations. In that case, just lying to cover. It wasn't necessarily even the racism. It was lying to cover up something else and let someone else pay the price for something. But yet we don't have that in the schools anymore, and it should be.
What we don't have in the schools anymore is the teaching self-esteem. We all lack self-esteem, but if you lack self-esteem growing up as a young boy or girl into a teenager, okay, you start living that lack of self-esteem. It eliminates the no, I don't want to do that. Okay, taking drugs. Okay, here, let's go take cocaine. If you have self-esteem, no, I don't want. I know that's bad for me. But if it's your friend, if it's somebody else, oh, okay, let me try it. And that's the hook. Okay,
the peer pressure there.
That's
Yeah,
that peer pressure. Okay.
I'm going to push back because I'm on a soapbox all the time about we're teaching esteem over substance in the schools today. Johnny gets a D, and that's perfectly fine. Oh, as long as you think it's your best. No, not let's. Okay, let's also then strive for more. We think you could build up the esteem of we think you can do better and help them do better. No, it's let them feel good about how dumb they're being dumbed down in our schools.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but also giving that D. No, you know what? Let's give you a C. Let's make them feel better.
Yeah. And that's bad too. Exactly. That's right. Giving, again, the esteem over substance. They're applying a false sense of self-esteem. Oh, let's just give everybody A's and the problem is eliminated. No, it's not. It makes it worse.
Yeah. Your conversation the other day with Charles Thompson, you just had you were talking about the politics of the Republican and the Democrats. To me, it was like the Democrats were always trying to here's the fish that for you to go eat, whereas the Republicans, and there's a borderline up and down for this. For the Republicans, here's the fishing rod, go catch your own fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teach a man to fish, right? Yeah. Teach a man to fish.
Yeah.
Giving the fish makes a dependency, and that's why some want to do that. Yeah. The welfare state creates a voting dependence. Vote for them who are giving you the handouts.
Right.
Not about caring for you. It's about their power, their control. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what the world is running on now. That's what the world is running on now. Back to your point before about the psychiatry of that the morphine, you were calling it
the endorphins. Yeah.
Endorphins today is now in the watching of the videos, the bad videos.
Yeah. So let's segue. Here's kind of the whether it's at least PG-13, maybe even needs an R. We'll try to be careful what we're saying here, but indeed, porn and porn addiction and all as part of defender of Christian values, because it leads to almost the esteem problem again, the sexualization of both men and women, the idolization of the imagery rather than the content of their character, and this false sense of, well, why doesn't everybody look like that? Because although there's all kinds of weird classifications of porn these days, the usual definition is all these beautiful women and beautiful men and right, but I can't live up to the expectation of the male in there if I'm right, if that's what you're constantly seeing, and the women can't live up to that either. It creates a wholly unrealistic expectation of sexual relations. Yes.
Oh yeah. But that's where here it comes. The devil comes in. The devil says, "Hey, start looking. If you need something artificial, start looking at these pictures." Okay, you start getting but the feed for the dopamine. Those pictures are okay for a while, but I want more. I want more. Now you start going down that funnel, okay? Now you start going down to where the bad videos are. And that's where you get really turned on. Now, you're getting turned on artificially, but not everybody should be going that way. That's the lack of self-esteem. Your self-esteem should say, no, I don't want to go there. Because as you're watching these, there's a point where, hey, no more, no more. I know where, but there's a point where you want more. Okay. And the kids today, 14, 15-year-olds, okay, they can't handle that effect that's going on in their brain. And they continue to watch and they go farther and farther down. Dopamine destroys lives. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Very
And
hard to come back. Very
yeah,
hard to come
I've had other episodes. I talk about it in one of my constitutional politics books. Indeed, the new core R's, I call them: radicalism, raunch, and perversion, and racism through CRT, right? It's anything but reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? Anything to pacify and placate, and also at the same time undermine our society.
Yeah.
Indeed, if they're hooked on porn, they're not paying attention to things that actually prepare them for adulthood and be a productive member of society.
Right.
And cultural Marxists want to undermine and destroy our society.
Yeah. No, it's when the farther you go down into this tunnel, okay, I call it quicksand, okay, you become trapped. But down there, and this is why I'm hoping this is why I'm here today. I could talk about the what bad we do, but watching the videos, okay, I don't, they don't want you to say porn. They don't want really. The P word, you can go to the P word, you can go to bad videos.
I don't know if YouTube will give me a hard time or not, make me pull the video. Yeah. The other channels I put the video on usually doesn't give me a hard time about things, but
I talk end of the exploitation, because down there are the children. There are hundreds of thousands of children, ages 6, 8, 10, 12, all are in these videos. The people pay more for that first time video than all the other videos, because it's the first time. That's where we've gone. Now, because of that, the whole industry of porn is fault. You are responsible for their lives, what you've done to them. If you don't, all the people that have watched porn before are never going to go to the next life unless they say, "I'm sorry, God." If you don't let God in, it's a slope. It's a slope. But if you don't let God into your life and say, "I'm sorry," you will not see.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why our soul's direction.
Yeah. We're talking now the really bad, the P word, the pedophilia, to just come out and say it, and why I may indeed slap an R rating on this show. But there's kind of two kinds: the exploitation, which is actually engaging in sex with, or even this toddlers for interiors crap, the sexualization of our, they're growing up too fast and there's no need for this. Let kids be kids. And that's the part if someone 18 and older wants to engage in that stuff as an adult, making your own choice, that's one thing. But as you say, stop watching porn and save the children. This is about children here.
Yes.
Peddling Colleen Hoover softcore porn books in school. Look, my alarm's going off to remind me. Rather than a positive education experience like To Kill a Mockingbird or Atlas Shrugged or Orwell's 1984, which are all removed from the school for this porn stuff. That is grooming, and that is also illegal. Statutory rape laws still exist.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone under 18 is not supposed to be sexualized, but yet they keep doing it at a younger and younger
Right.
age. Let the kids be kids is what we're saying.
Yeah. When I had my book re-edited, the editors found a perfect. I put a chapter in called Bystander, and they found a quote from Albert Einstein: "The world will not be destroyed by evil; it will be destroyed by those who watch and do nothing to stop it."
Right.
Joseph, that was the perfect. I use that in my video and some of my promotions now. Perfect saying. Perfect.
Yeah.
Einstein was ahead of his time.
Yeah, that and the Edmund Burke quote, only thing necessary, evil prevail, good people do nothing. Those two relate. And there are others that are paraphrasing the same concept. What we're dealing with here is indeed that concept. Why? Well, why? The why is because they don't care. They're either pedophiles or they want to undermine our society.
The devil is working. His plan is working very well. Okay, is because the society is a me. As soon as we became a me society, then hey, I don't need to go to church because I don't have time. Okay, God, the world outside, is my church. God's is here. Doesn't work like that. You have to sacrifice it. The hard part, getting to the next life. Okay, it's hard. It's hard. Okay, it's not meant to be easy. Okay, it's not meant to be easy. Not everybody's going to go because they think it's easy. It's not. You have to stop doing the things that.
Or they're seeking a church, as we spoke earlier, the kumbaya only Jesus.
Yeah.
Everything is great. Everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like we've gone back to the 60s. If it feels good, do it, right?
Do it.
As you said, me. If it feels good for me in the here and now, consequences be damned, everyone else be damned. Even though we're in this day and age about, everybody's feelings, only their feelings matter, nobody else's feelings matter. But we have to remember the Jesus revolution came out of the hippie movement. They eventually woke up to, hey, there's got to be more than this.
Right.
So I'm hoping that pendulum is again swinging back. And one of the reasons why I created this show to hopefully help push that pendulum back.
Yeah. We have Gallup poll just did a survey. 41% believe that it's morally okay to watch the videos, the bad videos. 41%. I think it's because they don't know about the effect of the children. I think if they knew that they're responsible for the whole, the demand for the supply is responsible. Okay, we have to remember that the demand for the supply is responsible. So it's gone in the wrong direction.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're saying here, right? They're in the me, the them. Anybody else's circumstance, feelings or circumstance, the harm it does to the others, they don't care because they only feel, they don't think. They don't think it through. And again,
why we cross the line.
Yeah, that 60s thing again. If it feels good, do it. Me, and not what can I get tomorrow? No. Why didn't you get it to me yesterday?
Yeah.
Right? I want it not now. I want it yesterday. And
that's why the line, that's not for me. I want it today. We crossed the line. That line is meant for everybody all your life. From the time you're born to the time you die. You don't cross the line.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I'm hoping. And at Substack, I've got a piece, Losing My Religion, kind of playing off that REM song, right? Because I saw a study that I think was kind of rigged and a poll about people leaving the Catholic Church in Germany. Well, that doesn't factor in that maybe they've all of a sudden decided I'm going to go to a Protestant or a Lutheran or a whatever. What I say the show, I'm born and raised Catholic, but this is not a Catholic, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, Baptist, whatever show. It is a Christian show. So if they're leaving one church but going to another church, that's a whole other proposition than people are just leaving the faith like they were trying to imply.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But or church religion gets in the way. You know?
Yeah.
That's a lot of belief also. It gets in the way.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.
Well, that's the cultural Marxism again. You froze up for a second, but you're back. You seem okay, right? People want, like many on the left, want to undermine Christianity because with Reagan and Pope John Paul II, it brought down the Soviet bloc. So it is our Judeo-Christian ethos foundations. They don't like that. They want the humans, their politicians, government is God.
Yep, again. They want control. Like you were saying the other day with Thompson, absolute power. No, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, Charlie said that. I had some differences with Charlie, but like everyone, I want to air people who are not exactly on the same page as me, right? I don't want completely an echo chamber here, right? Because that's not good for us or anybody. I lost my train of thought where I was going to go on that next, but I remember anti-Semitism on the rise. And to me, fake Christians, Matthew 23 Christians, the Jews killed Jesus. Hello, did you read your Bible? If you're upset with all Jews now for what a few Jews did then, you're out of your mind. And even those Jews then were a minority who wanted to keep their power, their control on the earth. And as Jesus said on the cross, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Jesus had to die on the cross as the final blood sacrifice. It was ordained and he fulfilled the prophecy. So if you're mad at anyone, let alone a whole class of people, the Jews for that, you're angry and mad at God.
Yeah.
Because it was his plan, his will.
Yep.
I don't get this, but yet they can't see it. They're blinded by this Satan, in part, infiltration and wanting to sow hate and division.
We do wrong because we have an excuse to do it. But no matter what we think about, we need an excuse. That's one of the chapters in my second book. Why we do the bad we do. We make excuses. People can have a book of excuses. 1,320. And here's my excuse for that. We need an excuse. We need that's what it. And when you're going back to what you said before, the control of the government, you can't have God and government. Okay, it says God and country. No. It's party and country. It's, the belief that the controlling factor that they want, it's not, no, God has nothing to do with it. But country doesn't even, the party, the leader, if you want to say king,
Uh-oh, you froze up again. Hello.
there's no party.
Oh, there.
The CTP wants to control. That's why they really reject a lot of religion.
Yeah.
So
Again,
even
yeah.
Russia. So
Yeah.
you got to control it. You have to control religion, and God doesn't. You don't control.
Uh-oh, you froze
You
again.
don't change things. Yeah, you don't change. The Pope they want to legalize things. They want to change the church. You don't change. The line is the line. You don't change the line.
And it's like the differences in. I was going to joke. There's one volume of the Bible, but there are many satanic volumes. But that's not even true. Satan, it is man who have screwed things up, not God.
Yep.
We have all the Christian divisions because of man, not God. It is man that have done these things and made these divisions, in part with it, influence with Satan. So that's why I say over and over on this show, it's a Christian show. And if Catholics are fighting Protestants or Methodists are fighting Baptists, Lutherans, right? I'm part German. My grandfather was Lutheran, became a Catholic to marry my grandmother, right? But if we're arguing about those divisions rather than the things that should be bringing us together, Satan wins, not Christ.
Yep, exactly. There's too few mirrors in the house. Nobody looks in the mirror. Okay. The problem with us, look in the mirror. I mean, eye to eye, and you think of it. You're the fault. Okay. The lack of self-esteem. You're not going to look at yourself in the mirror the right way. With self-esteem, you will look in the mirror and say, I like you. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't. You really don't.
Well, it goes back to lying. A lot of people can and will look in their mirror and buy their own bull bleep, right? They believe they own. There are some with way too much self-esteem, and the sin isn't pride. I should have pride in Sally getting all A's. I should have pride in little Johnny hitting the walk-off home run at Little League. I should take pride in a job well done at work. It is the sin of hubris when I then go into my boss's office and say, I'm the only person on the planet that could have solved that problem, pay me double. That's the sin, the hubris, and people can look in their mirror and not self-reflect, and indeed buy their own bull, their own lies, that how great they are. It's like the rapture. I've got an episode, couple on that. There's so many people that worry me. The rapture is way above my pay grade, right? If and when it happens, it's on God's time and God's terms, not ours. Whether God deems me worthy to rapture or not is not up to me. It's up to him and his reasons why. But there's a lot of Christians with hubris run around, oh, the rapture's coming. Bye, suckers. They insist they're going to be raptured any minute now. And that's hubris. That's putting it on your plan, your time, your hubris. No, that's up to God. That's way above our pay grade. So all this talk about the rapture to me is silly, whether it is or is not. And it is not in every Bible. It's become a more modern era phenomena, this caught up notion. So again, thinking about it and worrying about it means we're taking time away from things we should be doing to make this a better place.
Right. You just don't doubt your direction.
Right.
Don't doubt.
If and when that comes, then is the time to worry about it.
Yeah.
There, we must sow to reap. 2 Chronicles 7:14, I say all the time. If my people pray, turn from wicked ways, I shall heal their land. They want to leave out the turn from wicked ways part, which requires actions on our part to sow good so good can be reaped.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're complicit, to use the word you used before, in the evil, the rotten fruit we're all trying to have to choke down to sustain because we did nothing. Right? We require actions, and God will help.
And no weak moments. Weak moments will take you away from that rapture. Okay, you can't have weak moments. Okay, that's when you lead, when you go off the track. That's when you go to, away from where you want to go or where you should be going, because it's easy. The devil, hey, come this way. Okay, the rapture is this way. Okay, that's what self-esteem. No, I know where I'm going. You got to know where you're going.
I think we're on the same page. And so I'm going to rephrase what I said and kind of paraphrase you. A good, biblical, solid, godly self-esteem versus a worldly, human self-esteem.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah, it should go hand in hand. Yeah, okay. I understand.
I think all along we've been saying the same, even when I tried to push back. The difference is indeed the godly, positive, biblical kind of self-esteem versus the me, worldly self-esteem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to clear that up.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And again, this is part of the issue. We're all human. We're all flawed, frail, imperfect. We may not always find the right wording at the time we need it. And fortunately, we came together under a better wording. So we don't leave this episode sounding like we had that difference when we really didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Leave it, next time. I hope this is next time, because next time we talk not what bad we do, why we do the bad we do. That's a whole. I have 15 chapters there. For that.
Thousands, or if you want to go evolution, millions of years of human nature to talk about in the whys. And there can be different motivating reasons underlying the why. Yes, that indeed would be a whole 3-hour show in and of itself.
Oh, yeah. You go to hate, anger, we do a lot of bad things.
So it's why say that title. Whoa, what bad we do.
What bad we do.
Don't cross the line.
Don't ever cross the line.
And then hopefully a sequel, why we do the bad.
Why?
There's
also the who. I'm going to have the who also.
Who? Well, the whole journalism. Who, what, why, where, why, and then how, right? Yeah.
Those are stories. No, those are stories. The who. We need to talk about the who.
Now I'm going to have who are you? Who in my head all day. I usually joke at the beginning of the show when I say, where were you born and all that. Cue the who. Who are you? But I didn't do that today. So it would have been more appropriate in this show had I. At any rate, to wrap things up, because and we could go forever, but we've gone longer than I normally go. Do you have a direct website? You mentioned one. I didn't write it down. What is it?
OurSoulsDirection.com.
All right, I'm writing that down, and it will be on the video scroll for those looking behind. An hour as an OU hour.
Direction.
You could have another one as a play on words, HOU hour, as in the end is nigh. You better get your shit together. Hour.
The clock is ticking.
It sure seems it, right? I spoke with Christopher Armstrong Stevenson about the book of Revelations. That was before Christmas.
Wow.
And indeed, right, there have always been, since the time of Christ, people on the corner with the sign, thinking this time it really is the end times. They certainly thought it during World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
Again, that's all above our pay grade and up to God, not us. And my Terror Strikes book is about those who are trying to it is our job to sow good. We agree, right?
Yes.
But there are some warped Christians, the Om Sri Nyoko cult, Supreme Truth out of Tokyo, in my Terror Strikes book, like the Iranian Ayatollahs, mullahs, Shiite cult that think it's their duty to hasten Armageddon. To me, that's not godly, no matter what your supposed faith is, but there are those who think that way. So that's supposed to be on God's time and God's plan, and those who are hastening evil are complicit in the evil and hopefully enjoy their fiery pit.
Oh yeah, Joseph. To make it more simple, you have to follow my shirt.
Yes, for those viewing or listening on audio or reading the transcript, his shirt says, "Hey, cut the crap."
Cut the crap. Cut the crap. Universal. That's universal.
Thank you, Raymond Comeau, spelled Comeau. And again, if you view on video, that'll be on a scroll for people to see, but for the benefit of audio and the transcript, again, the last name is Comeau. The book is, I'll read it right this time, What Bad We Do, Don't Ever Cross the Line. Available Amazon and all that stuff, I'm sure, right?
Yep. Barnes and Noble too. Yep.
Yeah. Books A Million.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm talking to them next week.
Good. Well, if the book is uploaded through Ingram Sparks, Books A Million should have already automatically picked it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining today. And indeed, wow. I try to keep the show usually to 30 minutes so people can go to lunch, put on headphones, eat their lunch, be done, go back to work kind of time. This one went a little long.
Yeah, no. This needs to be longer.
Yeah. Well, I call it the Twitter attention span. It's the time we live in. Everybody wants, give me the synopsis, right? That's why AI cheating is so popular. Not now. I want it yesterday. Do it for me. Don't make me do it. Right? Again, that's a whole other hour we could go on about. Thank you again, Raymond. Have a great day.
See you. Thanks, guy.
Wait. Don't leave yet. I know we've already run long, but I didn't want you to have a bad or false impression of what I was saying about the rapture. The issue, again, is not the question if or not, above our pay grade, and we don't know when it's coming, if it's coming. If you insist it is, okay. We don't know when. That's on God's time, God's plan, not ours. There are things we need to be worried about doing in the here and now before that comes. But hubris as the pride, right? It is one thing to say, and this is the clarification I want to make. I hope I'm going to be raptured. I think I will be in the rapture. I pray I will be part of the rapture. I'm preparing. I'm trying to live in a fashion that I will meet the rapture criteria. That is one thing. That is okay. That is not a problem. What is a problem is I'm going to be raptured. Bye, suckers. You've got to deal with everything down here. I'll be gone. That is the hubris. That's not godly. That's hubris. That's the sin of hubris, right? That is putting you above God. It's your plan. You're insisting, not God's plan, and being part of God's will, open to God's will. If there's a reason you're left behind, if I'm left behind, God has a reason for that. It may be good, not necessarily bad. I'm needed to stay here for a reason. That's up to God, not me, not us, not I'm out of here, bye, suckers, insisting you're gone. You're holier than all on the earth. You know more and better than God. You're insisting you're going to be God. That's hubris. That's the clarification I want. I'm concerned about some fellow Christians' souls who are letting hubris in by the I will be raptured definitive statement. Bad. And I know, like said with Raymond, right? We don't always come up with the right words. We're human, frail, flawed, right? I do not always necessarily have the right words to provide, and I didn't during the show. Thankfully, it's coming to me now. Again, like my books, I feel this show is not of me, from me. I'm doing it, but it's through me. And sometimes I fail the man upstairs, not being clear enough. But thankfully, the right words, I hope, I pray, so that everyone gets it and is now nodding their head yes. Oh, absolutely. A big difference between I will be raptured and I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm planning, I'm trying to be good enough to qualify for the rapture. Those are two different things. And I think you understand that now that I've better expressed it. I haven't expressed it well enough till now, and that's my fault, not the man upstairs' fault, right? And this show is about presenting God's word, the whole Bible, in full context, and remembering, though, man, as I said with Raymond, we've screwed up these different sub-religions of Christianity. Jesus did not say, go forth and create 100 different Christian sects in my name, denominations in mine. He didn't say that. We are the ones that did that, and there are differences in them, but we need to focus on the things that bring us together. So Jesus wins, not focusing on the divisions. So Satan wins and keeps us battling ourselves rather than fighting and sowing good on the planet. The reason I'm doing the show, the reason I felt called to do the show, and again, I do not always necessarily articulate it well enough, and I apologize for that. But indeed, I say over and over, I'm human, frail, flawed, imperfect. My brain doesn't always work well enough, and the words don't always come to be delivered right. Thank you all. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.